Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is John Schwind, and he is the inventor of a product that we're going to talk about in 1 second. Now, this is not a political show, so if you start getting political in the chat, we're going to block you and delete you, because the reality of the situation is, whether you believe in masks or not, the reality is that some of us live in locations where we have to wear them if we want to go to work and get paid. And that's just the reality of the situation. So whether you agree with it or not, that's the way it is. And also, some of us have loved ones in nursing homes and hospitals that if we don't wear a mask, we are not allowed to visit. So this show is not about masks. Do they work? The show is about comfort, because if you know me, some of you say my clothes are very cute, and yes, they are for the most part. Thank you. But they're comfortable. I'm a person that was built for comfort. And when I went back into in-person teaching recently, and I had to wear a mask, well, I didn't have to, but I had a choice. I can either wear a mask or don't go to work. And if I don't wear a mask, I don't get paid. And I prefer to get paid for my work. I found that what was really uncomfortable after wearing a mask for 5 hours was, I could breathe fine, but my ears, I felt like my ears were just going to, fall off from the, from where things. So I tried the one that goes around the neck. And then I'm like scratching my neck. And then what happened is a couple of the very well-known doctors who actually are frontline workers told me about these masks that have no straps. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So they gave me the website, and I went to the website and actually ordered them from Amazon, but I didn't know what to order because they came in gray and large and they came in small and yellow. And I'm like, am I small? Am I large? How do you put it on? So I emailed the company, and talk about customer service. The CEO, who's here today, called me back, and he's here today to talk about how he invented these and actually how to put them on. And he is so generous that he's offering you a 25% discount. So Sharon McCray and family, I hope you're watching, because I know you were really interested in this product. Please welcome John Schwind. And I apologize for the long intro, but I had to set the stage.
Well, thank you, AJ. That was a fantastic intro.
Yeah, so this is so cool. So what made you think of creating a mask with no straps? Because obviously there's a need for it, because the straps are very annoying. It's like wearing a seatbelt around your ears.
Yeah, straps are annoying, and it's all about comfort. If something's uncomfortable, you're not going to do it. So the original idea for this came in 1998. And the idea came from the first World Trade Center bombing. We wanted to invent something to help those people get out of a situation like that. And we started with a mask with straps, and it was wet with terry cloth. And eventually we moved to something like what we have right now with a dry filter. But the idea was not really to develop a medical mask. It was really, the idea was an escape mask. And then over the years, we got some patents, and then we worked or fought with our good friends at NIOSH to get NIOSH certification, and they had never seen anything like our mask. And so they put it through the ringer, and eventually we prevailed and were able to get NIOSH certification.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to learn how to put this on. And I really didn't know, John, because a lot of times when you buy like clothes, they ask, it goes by like weight or height. And it's like, am I small? Am I large? Am I small? Am my husband large? He has a beard. Will this work? And then I thought, hey, how come you don't have like pink and purple?
So the pink and the purples will come eventually, but anytime we make a change to anything on our mask, whether it's writing on it, the color, we change a material, we have to go back to NIOSH, part of the CDC, for recertification. So it's a process. So we'd love to have all different kinds of fun colors and graphics and things, but anytime we make a change, we've got to go spend time and money to get that change through.
Right. So who is this mask for, and who have you found are the people that are buying this mask?
So within the last 2 years with COVID, many healthcare professionals, doctors, dentists, the frontline workers, emergency room physicians, nurses. We're selling a lot to dentists and hygienists. That's on the professional side. The other, for the consumer side, we're selling it to anybody that wants to have some really good level of protection, but also something that's very, very comfortable. Mask mandates are here right now. I imagine that they're going to be going away here, hopefully in the short term, and we'll get back to normal. We have a lot of people that have compromised immune systems. They're going to visit a relative, and they'll wear a mask going to visit that relative. We have a tremendous amount of people, believe it or not, in hair salons going because our mask doesn't have straps, and that makes it easy. People with hearing aids or cochlear implants, because the straps typically affect things that hang on the ears. So those are the types of people that are buying it. So anybody that is looking for a level of protection, a level of comfort, they're buying our mask.
Great. Well, the $1 million question is, how do you put them on? I mean, do you have a video anywhere to make it easy for people to figure it out? Because
it is, and we'll go through it a little bit here, but on our website, ReadiMask, you can right here, .com. There's some videos, and you can learn more about it. But let me show you how we do this. So ours is flat sheet. It's thin, but a very, very high efficiency filter. It has this kind of mesh on the outside, and that's where we get strength and color. On the inside is the hypoallergenic medical adhesive that lines the entire perimeter of the mask. So the way we don this, and there's a couple keys to putting it on right. So the first time you want to do it in front of a mirror, because it's much easier to shave or to put makeup on in front of a mirror. You see what you're doing. The second is you want to practice it a couple of times, and you'll know when you get it right. And the third is you want to have it as horizontal under your eyes as possible when you put it on, and not pulling down this way, because then it tends to stick out. And you'll see what it looks like when it's on right. So I'm going to pull off the release liner that comes with it. And it could stick to itself because the adhesive is a multi-use adhesive. I'll take off my glasses just for this.
Speaking of multi-use, Mandy's saying, are they reusable?
They, by us, the CD says, no, we can't say that it's reusable because there's no way to test reusability between respirators. We don't know what somebody's going to do with it, okay? But you can take ours on and off multiple times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my thumbs kind of on the back of it here, and you can kind of see there like that. And then I'm going to stick it to the sides of my nose and then straight across underneath my eyes. And I'm not going to use anything but light finger pressure. I don't need to pull on this or really push down hard on it. So I'm just going to put it here, center of my nose, and then I just laid it on. I hardly even touched it. And then I will slide my fingers down the sides till they come together at the bottom, and then I'll slide this, go over it like that. Now I'm completely sealed in. And if I feel any gaps, you just push on them. And that's it. That's how you put it on. I'll put my glasses on, and you'll see I don't get any fogging because it's sealed. You know,
Yeah.
You get glasses fogging because what you're wearing typically is not sealed.
That would make sense. I always wondered about that, because if your glasses are fogging, it's not sealed. That is the coolest thing. So we have some questions, if you don't mind. Jerry says, are these as effective as the masks the medical personnel wear? Jerry, I've seen medical personnel wearing them, even frontline doctors. So I would say yes, but I'll let John take that question.
Yeah, absolutely. These are a N95 certified respirator, certified by the CDC. So we've had to go through the entire testing process that all masks that are certified have to go through. Additionally, our masks were tested on people by the CDC. They don't test masks on people, they test them on machines. And so they looked at ours and said, wow, that is something that's just totally different. We don't know if it's going to work. So we're actually going to test it on people before we certify it. The other thing you'll notice is I have a mask on now, and the audio from this is still really pretty good.
It is, because a lot of times when I wear masks, people are like, what? That is really a benefit. I never even thought about that.
Yes, that's one of the benefits. The other is, since it's not moving around, I don't have to reposition it all the time. And you're not supposed to touch your mask, because that's where all the bad stuff is. So, and so I could take this, I could take it, I pull it off, and I could take it, I put it back onto the release liner, and and I could take it and put it in my pocket.
That's remarkable. Why didn't I find you 2 years ago? So Annie says, are these masks available overseas? She lives in Australia. Can she order them?
She can order them. It takes us a little longer to get them, sent over there, but she can order it from our website and we'll ship it over there.
You got that on so fast. You're
Oh,
good at this. People are saying they want pink though, but okay. So let's see. I do see some questions. Let me see.
I will warn the people though, if they do have this, they will get stopped by everybody saying, what is that? Where did you get it? How is it staying on? Is it easy to breathe through? I mean, people stop me,
That's how I got interested in it, because I was like, what is that? And I mean, the people that wear them swear by them. Everybody loves them. And like you said, like, here's a wonderful comment. Susanna says, people with glasses for sure will appreciate these masks. Her son has to wear a mask 8 hours a day. So he started wearing contacts, even though he doesn't like them. So maybe Susanna, she's in Canada. Canada can get these, right?
Canada can get these. Absolutely. Yep. So one of the other interesting things is, we make them here in the US with all domestic components. This is 100 masks in a small space. The amount of space that a regular mask would take up would be enormous. And ours are very, very flexible. I mean, I could do, this with it, take it and pull it apart.
That is just so, I just love it. It's almost like silly putty. So we know that there's so Jerry, yes, they're as effective as the masks that the medical personnel wear, because many of the medical personnel are wearing it. But here's a question. CBC Show Marketplace did a review of masks. The N95 K95 had to have a 95% filtration efficiency. How does the ReadiMask compare?
So our tests by the CDC is we tested at 99.3%, not 95, 99.3%. So our mask is very, very efficient, very, very close to HEPA level filtration.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay. And Karen says, are these masks N95 level of protection? They are N95.
They are N95, yes. And you can go on our website, and we're the only company that posts the data from the CDC when they tested our mask. So,
yeah. I never even, before the pandemic, here's the thing. So like I had masks before the pandemic, and the reason is it's very interesting. Well, maybe it's not that interesting, but it's interesting to me. Before the pandemic even happened, I'm a person that's really big on safety. Like I have like those locks on my cabinets. I live in California, the earthquake things, because I'm thinking, if the dishes fall, I don't want them to break on the tile floor and the doggy to step on them. So I'm very safety conscious. And I took a certification class where I was trained to be not an emergency responder, but like way down the line, like if they needed civilians, where they teach you like search and rescue and all kinds of things. And so masks were something that I was just like interested in having, because they explained, this was before the pandemic. And so I remember getting these masks because I volunteer at a hospital, and when I have to wear a mask, this was before the pandemic, things have changed. Like if a patient's a child, I got this mask that kind of had like, it was clear there. So like the person could see me smile, and that kind of thing. So I never really understood all these different levels of mask, N95, KN95. What does that mean for the layperson? Like these different numbers and letters?
Right. So the N95 is the standard from the CDC. Part of NIOSH, which is the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. And it says that the respirator will stop 95% or greater of a particular particle size. And so what they do is they take a mask and they glue it down to a fixture, and they force salt particles through it. And if it stops 95% of those, then they give it the stamp of approval, as long as you have a good manufacturing quality system. KN95 is a very similar standard, but that comes out of China. So that's a Chinese standard. It's not an American standard. We have allowed it to happen in this country just because there was very, very few domestic N95 manufacturers here. So we needed masks, and so okay, let's bring the Chinese mask over, because they had Unfortunately, much more manufacturing capabilities than we have here in the States.
And so when it's KN95, what does that mean?
Yeah, that means it's made, it's a Chinese standard. So,
Oh.
and it's very similar that it starts, I think it's 94% of the particulates or 95%, but it's really very, very close, very similar
Very close.
in the level of protection. Now, none of those masks seal. So all of the stuff, if you've got a gap, if I've got a little gap here, I can feel it, you know? And in other masks, if you don't get the bridge pushed down properly and seal and it's the right size and get fit tested to make sure it's the right mask for you, you have no idea whether you have a good seal or not, you know? And then, you know, so you're not getting the efficiency. The other part of our mask, since it seals, it works both on the inhalation and the exhalation. So you're protecting yourself and you're protecting those around you.
Yeah. Faith wants to know, does the adhesive potentially cause skin irritation or blemishes if someone is prone to those?
So we have, there's a couple people, one of them is a dentist out of Boston. And she was having tremendous acne problems with other masks. She started wearing ours and all of a sudden her problems went away. Do not ask me why. I have absolutely no idea. So we sold, you know, north of 5 million in masks. And I can count on my left hand the number of people that have ever said that they've had a problem with the adhesive of this. So the adhesive on this is hypoallergenic, it's medical grade, and it was developed for pediatrics and geriatrics. So it's very, very gentle on the skin.
Okay. So Julie says, can you smell through that? I bet you can.
You can smell some stuff because, you know, odors can come through, but for a lot of things you don't, you know, because they're also particulates. So, you know, it does, you know, we do have a mask that it's a little different. It's a carbon cloth mask. So it's activated carbon, and that is fantastic for nuisance odors. We're still in development with that, but it's kind of cool.
Right. Let's see. Jerry says, how cute. We will all look like baby elephants. I think the biggest problem is that people aren't used to seeing a mask like this yet.
Right. Yep. And, you know, once you go strapless, you know, you're not going to go back.
That's right. I can't wait because we're gonna do a demo. You're gonna help me put it on for the very first time, but I want to get to everybody's question. I don't understand this question from Judy. Can you use the turtles inside that hold the mask off your face? I don't know what that means.
You know what? You could. We don't. So turtles are something that is used with a surgical mask to keep it away from your skin contact. We don't make them, and we've never really used it. But the other part is we don't have people complaining about this when it comes in and touches your skin. Even though it touches your skin a little bit, it's not, it's different. You know what, you have to try it to actually know and feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mandy says, are you wearing a size large?
I am. So as the general rule, guys wear large. AJ, you'll wear a small, and you know, there's we make an extra large as well, and the extra large is for the big guys. You know, I think NFL linemen, you know, guys with big heads. So that's a small percentage. It's probably 5% of the people wear an extra large. You know,
because people are saying, how do you know what size you are?
Yeah, you know what, it's also a preference. So if you have a slender face, you're probably small if you're a female. Guys, and these are just generality, and it's very difficult. We tried to come up with a sizing chart, and you know, we had things where you can cut out and put it on your face, and it really kind of wasn't working. But you know, I put on a small mask, and a small mask, let me just show you what a small mask looks like on me. I'll take this off and I'll put it on the same way.
Doesn't look
So now, It's not that much smaller, as far as size wise goes, if I was to put, a small and a large together, it's really, and I did have a size chart here. So you could kind of see it's not that much smaller, on there. And then it still goes on. And the fun thing is when you're approaching somebody and all of a sudden you do this, and they just like, how did that work?
Yeah, that's going to be cool. I can't wait till I wear it out for the first time. That's going to be really, and the thing is what people are, and they're commenting in the chat, that even if masks that have straps are effective, they don't really create a seal for most people.
Right. The other is when, you should see the dashboard of my car. So, you have to go into the store, you wear a mask, you come out, and I stick it to the dashboard of my car. They're stuck to the desk here, they go onto the wall, so, and then you take it off and put it back on again.
There's a question. Our school kids have to change their masks up to 4 times a day due to condensation. Would these masks need changing as well?
They won't need nearly as much. Part of it is what happens with many masks, they're cone shaped. You have a cavity in there. And so you're rebreathing that air, and condensation and moisture builds up, and they also get hot. With ours, the cavity that's here, it's a smaller cavity. So you're getting much more air exchange with ours. So we haven't had, everyone tells us that ours is much, much cooler to wear than everything else. And we have physicians and nurses wearing it in the OR for up to 10 hours. So,
that you're changing the game, John. You're changing the game, with masks, because even if the pandemic goes away, there's, like you say, I mean, listen, even before the pandemic, I'm 62. I've been going to the dentist for like 60 years, and the dentists and the hygienists have always worn masks, even before pandemics. So, it's, I don't know, these people that are like against masks. Okay, fine.
So, you asked about other uses, so just around home use, if you're doing sanding, if you're doing some cleaning, if you're cleaning mold. So one of the big things that happened after Katrina and a lot of these hurricanes is the tremendous amount of mold that happens, and so you need some type of protection along those lines as well. So for everyday use, when you don't want stuff to get into your lungs, you should be wearing a mask, even if it's just for short periods of time.
Yeah. Or if you have a carnivore come over and use your restroom, ha ha ha. Just kidding. We're mostly a vegan audience, so that's a little bit of vegan humor. So hey, Terry wants to know, what about if you have a beard?
So if you have a light beard, you're okay, because the adhesive does a pretty good job. But if you have a bigger beard, no, because we can't guarantee that it's going to give you a complete seal there. With OSHA says, for your workplace, you have to be clean shaven, and we say that in our literature. Now, a mustache and a goatee, you're fine with that. So.
Yeah, that's what my husband has. I think he'll be fine, because we're going to have to fly soon. And I know that you have to, at least from what I understand, wear a mask on the plane. Mary says, do you make masks for little children?
We do not. And part of it is masks, respirators, N95 respirators were designed and developed originally for a 6-foot man breathing at 85 liters of air a minute. And that's what these things are tested to and perform to. That little child breathes much, much, much less air. They're breathing 5 liters of air a minute, maybe, okay? So we have thought about, and we're trying to develop something for children, smaller kids, because if you put something like this on a small child, they're not going to be breathing enough through it to get the air to go through it. Very easy to breathe through, but that small child is not breathing a whole lot of air. So we, in the future, our hope is to get with some of the medical universities, as well as some of the government agencies, and come up with a mask for children that is very, very easy to breathe through, but thin and has the efficacy. So we just can't do that right now.
Great, thank you. I saw a question, and the question is how do we dispose of these masks and how do they affect the environment?
Well, like everything, this is plastic. This is polypropylene. So like all things, it's going to go into the landfill, just like all the other masks that are out there. The reason that we use polypropylene is you can make the fibers very, very thin, and they also hold an electrostatic charge. So this mask filters really in two ways. One, think about your screen on your window. I mean, it blocks the bigger particles. Okay, the very, very small particles still get through your window screen. Dust, for instance. I don't know if you've ever been out in the desert.
I live in the desert. Hello.
I know. And you get a wind, and you got the windows open with maybe you don't have screens out there because you don't have bugs, but it comes through. So these masks also have an electrostatic charge in them to capture the very, very fine particles, bacteria, viruses, dry spores, things like that. That gets trapped in the filter itself. So they've looked at all different kinds of materials to use, but melt-blown polypropylene is still the best. So it is not necessarily biodegradable, comes from oil. In a million years, it'll go back to oil.
Wow. So let's see. I saw Heidi says, I work for Uber. Can I be a representative?
She works for Uber.
I guess maybe she's an Uber driver. Maybe they
drives it, yeah.
Change their masks a lot or something. So let's see. There's a question from Ruth. Why are the yellow masks cheaper than the gray masks on the website?
So the yellow ones are ones that we developed, and they're only there's only one kind that are. So we developed them the same time as the gray, the colors, and then we changed the adhesive. We moved from one acrylic to a silicone, and we were making the yellows with the silicone. And we submitted those to NIOSH because we made a change to it. As soon as they got approved with the new, we got approval to use this new adhesive, then we stopped the presses and we were allowed to print the word N95 on it. So the ones that you'll see, some of the yellows don't have N95 on it. That's why. The other is, so we make one which is an N95 yellow, and I know this is a little confusing, but we use an acrylic adhesive, which is a little bit less for us to make, cost for us to make.
Great. And Lisa says, how is it with condensation in really cold temperatures?
So we have a lot of guys that run with these outside. So, if it's really, really cold, if you're skiing, it's like wearing a mask, it will ice up a little bit, depending on how cold it really is. But wearing it outside, people find that it's really nice because it does kind of warm the air before it's going into your lungs.
Great. Let's see. A couple of people saying, can they be cleaned, washed, or disinfected?
You know what? Not really. What we recommend is you stick them someplace for a couple of days, and that tends to help with it. The disinfectant, we really don't know what you're going to use to disinfect these things with. So sunlight is a fantastic disinfectant. So put them in the sun. But yeah,
a lot of people are suggesting you offer a variety pack with half large and half small for families.
We do have something like that. It's not on our website, and actually it's one of our sample packs that we send out, large and small.
That's neat. So Mary's saying, could I cut them to fit my 5-year-old granddaughter?
You cannot, because what ends up happening is the adhesive is really around the perimeter of this. Okay, and if you cut it, that adhesive is no longer there. So that
Julie says, have you ever worn it on a plane or known anyone who has?
yeah, so we have a tremendous number of people that wear it on the plane, and we may have some pictures on our website. A lot on social media, and yes, and people wear it because it's just so comfortable, and you forget you have it on, and so you're able to sleep with this on. The other part is, so yeah, is, you have a pillow, your head's here, and you're able to sleep because it's soft.
Yeah. And you mean sleeping on a plane. You're not saying going to bed with it on sleeping.
Don't go to bed with this on. No, on a plane, you're able to.
Yeah, absolutely. Victoria says they look like they would be more for medical workers, not just for us in the general public.
It's really for both. So, early on, we were selling just to medical because of restrictions of selling N95s to the general public. They didn't want the general public to wear N95s. Now the CDC has just changed things and saying you shouldn't just be wearing a cloth mask, you should be wearing an N95. So that's their ever changing recommendations.
Right. Claire says, I'm trying to buy now, but only shipping options are US and Canada, but I'm in New Zealand.
So, yeah, we should be able to on our website. So have her send us an email.
Okay, it's like info@ReadiMask or something like that.
Info@ReadiMask. You could send something. There is a box where you.
Well, I did that, and you got back to me the next day with a phone call. I'm like, whoa, and I had no idea you were the CEO. So that's pretty amazing customer service right there, if you ask me.
Well, we have a couple people, and we get a lot of requests for stuff. And somebody said, "Hey, there's this woman who is infamous." Oh no, she's famous. And I try to make 15 to 20 calls a day.
Wow. Well, you were very kind to answer all my questions, and I am going to do a demo, guys, very soon as I get to all of your questions, which are, I saw another one. Felicity says, are there bigger quantity options that offer a better price per mask?
So what we do have is we have a subscription that you can sign up for, and it gives you a 50% discount if you subscribe to it and get it delivered monthly. And so
right, and we're giving a 25% discount today if people would just like to try them. And here's a great question from Gina: can you wear it either way? Is there an up or a down?
Yes and no. So the way we've really found, and if you look at the printing on this, it really is printed this way. But we've changed the printing on the next batch of masks. We had to go back to NIOSH to change that, the way we orient the printing. So you made the change, you got to go back. And so we recommend you put the strip on the bottom like this. And it seems to contour to your nose a little better. And then down the sides like that.
Yeah, because I just noticed on the yellow, this strip shows. So you're saying
Correct.
Put that on the bottom.
Put that on the bottom.
Okay, I didn't even notice that strip. Let's see. All right, you will ship to Australia. That was a great question, Gina. Jerry says, I'm going to have to shave my beard now. Haha, but Jerry's a girl. So yeah, that's very funny. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a great question from Pat, and other people have mentioned similar things. I wear foundation. Would it lose integrity? Other people are saying, what about makeup? Because I do have some primer on right now.
Yep. And what ends up happening with makeup and lotions and foundations, it does tend to clog the adhesive. So you get less uses out of it because it becomes less effective, less tacky with it. But the plus side is you only now have to put makeup and foundation above your eyes with ours. So you're saving money, right?
Well, I would think so. That was another thing I liked about mask wearing, actually, for me. Yeah, So your website shows yellow masks specifically for single use. Is that the only difference between the yellow and the gray?
It kind of is. So the gray, you get a little bit more uses out of. I mean, we're still supposed to only say single use, but you can see how many times have I taken this one on and off during the course of this show. I mean, it's probably been at least 10 times.
Yeah.
you know,
I
so.
have sensitive skin. Is the adhesive irritating the sensitive skin? I'll let you know because I'm allergic to everything. I'll let you guys know honestly tomorrow. I mean, let's see, am I going anywhere today?
Right.
Not
The other,
teaching today.
the other issue is if you really do have sensitive skin, you want to try it. I would suggest, taking one, you can even cut it and then put it on, your arm or something like that, and keep it on there for a period of time and just see if you
Mhm.
if you have, I mean, I know some people do have issues, but we've had very, very few people, excuse me, that came back and said, have problems with the skin.
Yeah. Why are the yellow masks cheaper?
Yeah, because we use a different adhesive.
I see. Nice. Okay, let me see. Oh, here, I wouldn't know the answer to this. Can you please explain the difference between the three models, 1901, 1902, and 1911?
Sure. The 1901 is the yellow with an acrylic adhesive. 1902 is the gray, and that has a silicone adhesive. And then 1911 is yellow with a silicone adhesive as well. So it's really the difference in the adhesives and the colors. When we started this, we were trying to figure out how do we come up with a model number, because there's different ways of putting these things together. There's different fabrics that we're approved to use. There's different adhesives we can use. There's different colors we can use, and how do we keep it all together in our manufacturing process? And it begins with an N, so it's N1901 or N1902. That's meaning N means no eye shield. So we have a mask with an eye shield. So,
an eye shield. Let's see that.
yeah, so this one was one of the original ones that we had originally come up with. And remember I told you this was developed to help people escape out of a bad situation. So this one has a anti-fog eye shield built into it, same adhesive all the way around the perimeter, same filter, N95 filter, but it's not an N95, and we can get into that. So I pull off this release liner off this, and this, I stick it to my forehead like that.
Whoa.
My fingers down the sides, and now I'm sealed completely in. Glasses go over the top because it's a flexible eye shield. And you can see I'm not fogging up.
You're like amazing. Are you like an engineer? Like this is fantastic. I love people that create things,
I'm a wannabe engineer. So hang on a second, let me show you something else. Find it. So this is the way we have these packaged, and like this. So it's thin, it's lightweight. And this is a picture of my daughter 15 years ago. She's now, graduated college. She's out, up in New Hampshire, living in the mountains. So it's
So this isn't something you really invented for the pandemic. You already had invented this.
Already had invented this for it was emergency use. It really was, seeing people needing something that was portable that they could put on and be able to get out of the situation. So that's really, what it's for.
That
This
is
new,
so cool.
yeah, and this new mask right here with the eye shield, there's a brand new standard that has come out for eye protection. So most eye protection is really tested for impact resistance. There's a brand new standard that just came out regarding sprays and spurts, about biologics and blood and things like that. Because if you think about safety glasses, things can go around through the nose, they can go through the top and the bottom. Where ours, this one seals, and now you're completely sealed in the filtration and everything else that goes along with it. So.
Wow. Question. How do you know when you need to replace it if you wear it multiple times? Is it obvious when it loses its effectiveness?
It doesn't, it's not obvious when it loses effectiveness of filtration. You have to have an awful lot of particles to get this to clog, okay? So you're not going to wear out that. What's going to happen over a period of time, that the adhesive will become less sticky. And if you have a gap with ours, I can feel any gap you have, you can feel. So once you start pushing back on it and you don't feel like you have a good seal, then it's time to replace it.
Great. I saw a question. Let me just find it about her husband works in freezers. Hold on. Where was it? It was like, where did it go? Her husband works in a freezer. Must be cold, huh? Well, I guess, let me see if I can find the question.
It could be, meat packer or something like that.
So I guess she's asking, well, let me see if I can actually find the question. Well, while I look for the freezer question, Kathy's saying, has the CDC, FDA approved your masks?
Yes, they have. And so these are N95, and you can go up to the CDC website, and we're listed on there under Global Safety First is our company name, not ReadiMask. That's our brand. But you can also go to our website, and we've posted on our website our test results from the CDC and our letter of certification. So that's something that, many companies don't do. Additionally, they tested our mask on people. The CDC and NIOSH doesn't normally test masks on people. They just use a machine to test them. Ours was so different that they said we need to test it on people to make sure that this crazy idea actually works.
Nice. So Randy wants to know if your company is publicly traded. Maybe she needs to buy stock.
I appreciate that. No, we're not. We're a tiny company.
I love small businesses, by the way, and I love to support small businesses whenever I can. So thank you for that. Okay. Here's the freezer question. I don't know why it keeps, here it is from Mary. My husband works in freezers. Would this seal properly in the freezer?
Oh, absolutely. He'd have it on, he'd have a great seal, and he'd be warmer. I mean, it's one of those things where he'd be warmer. And the other thing we have here, and this came to us early on in the pandemic. We were giving away a lot of masks to hospitals. And a nurse came by to pick up some masks, and she was asking us about skin prep. And I said, well, we just recommend, no makeup, no lotions. And she said, no, skin prep. And I said, I don't know what you mean. And she said, in hospitals and medical, if you have a device that's going to be put on you and taken off, an ostomy or things like that, that uses adhesive, that's very traumatic to the skin over a period of time. So what they do is they have these little wipes, and they use this little wipe to the area where you were going to put it. And so what this does is this leaves a micro layer of adhesive on the skin. So when you attach something to it, it comes off and it doesn't take any skin cells, and it's very gentle. And so we started using this for people that, were having problems if they had something, if they couldn't get it to stick, or they were sweating an awful lot, or, whatever they had. And so they would use these little wipes. And the seal that they get was just tremendous, and this stuff, these are cheap. There's 50 of them. You can buy them for $5 at off of Amazon. So nice. It's really.
And what are they called, John?
These are skin prep.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So very cool. So Stephen says, can you use them? I don't even know what this is. A mask spacer bracket.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, Stephen, please clarify. And Joyce says, is propylene plastic safe material to be breathing through? No off-gassing, no ingredients like BPA or other plastic chemicals?
Yep, that's a great question. And so we have had ours tested, and there's nothing, no off gases from this. There's no odor. I mean, you take this and you put it on, and there's no smell at all.
Wow. All right. So I'm just seeing if there's no more questions, because I want to try to put mine on for the first time. Hypoallergenic adhesive, Stephen says.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, no, he's saying don't cut the masks, guys. Don't cut them, right? They're not effective if you cut them.
They're not. So, the interesting thing is, so I have masks and we play with all kinds of different things. And, we have, cut them and things. And it's really, this size and the shape looks very basic and simple. it's taken us a while to get to just, something like this that actually works. We do have one that was developed in conjunction with the Defense Logistics Agency, and this is nanofabric. So this one's not out yet, but this is, it's a little stiffer, and I've worn this many times. So, that this one will be in the market in a little while as well.
Wait, what is that one?
This is nanofabric. It's
Oh.
a different, it's a different fabric. So we can make our masks with many, many different materials.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is really kind of neat, cool. It keeps its shape a little bit better,
Question if they're latex free.
They are latex free. The other interesting part of all of this is they're latex free. They're also metal free. The importance of metal, and I say 3 to 4 times a week, we get the question, can I wear this in an MRI machine? Yes, you can. And we have a letter that, tells us about it, that it is metal free. Because when you go into an MRI, if there's any metal in it, metal can get really, really hot. And so ours doesn't contain it, so you can go into the machine with this.
There's a bunch of questions if you've been on Shark Tank and if you want to go on Shark Tank.
So I have a Shark Tank story many, many years ago. This is going back at least a half a dozen years. I went to a call out in New York. I missed the call out, so I was in the waiting line for it. And there was hundreds of people there. And eventually it was about to my turn. The one guy who was interviewing all the people for it came out and said, people, you have the best product in the world. You have 1 minute with me. Act like you have the best product, So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do? So I go in there and he's sitting behind this white table with a computer, just banging away on this computer, never looked up at me. And he said, so what do you have for me? And I said, well, I have something that I think could save your life, so you better effing listen to me. And he stopped typing. He said, okay, go ahead. And this is when we were talking about this mask with the eye shield, And I said, so you're in your hotel room last night? No, you're on the subway coming here. No, you're here right now. All of a sudden, a big bang goes off. You don't know what it is. The room fills with smoke. What do you have with you right now to help you get out of that situation? He goes, nothing. I said, what would you do? And I'm just standing there with a coat on, not just standing. And he goes, I don't know. I'd scream. I said, no, you'd put on the ReadiMask. So I take the mask out and I put it on. And then I went through all kinds of different scenarios of things that he would use this for, and then eventually got to, you're going to see your mother who just came through radiation, chemo, compromised immune system. You don't want to get her sick. What would you do? And he goes, I'd put on the ReadiMask. And I said, yes, not that one. You'd put on this one with a half mask. And he was like, okay, this is great. I was in there for 12 minutes when you were only supposed to have 1 minute. So he said, we'll call you. So a week later, we get a call, and the amount of information that we had to get to them in a very short period of time, including a high-end video, and they needed it in a couple of days. And we were going away to a trade show, and the timing just didn't work out. So
want to try again?
You know what? We really should. It does take a lot of time, and the number of this was going back a half dozen years, and I think the numbers they had 50,000 people that put something forth to it, and they only accepted like 40 of them. So
That's
your
amazing.
odds of being able, and everybody said, "Oh, that's a great idea, Shark Tank," but the road to get to the tank is a long, long road.
Right,
So,
right.
if they called me up and said, "You know what, we want you," well, then that'd be different.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody will be watching. What is the particle range? 15 nanometers or nanometers?
So this is tested down to, not down to, but the test that they do at the CDC, at NIOSH, is 0.3 microns. They test at 0.3 microns because that is the most penetrating particle size. Particles that are tinier than that are much easier to capture because they're so light. Particles that are bigger than that get trapped in the filter itself because they can't get through because the holes are too small. So that's why they tested 0.3. So we've tested ours for all kinds of bacteria and viruses, dry spores, salt, which is what that 0.3 is. So all those masks that they test out there, they test them with salt, sodium chloride.
Wow. Mary says, would these work in bushfires to prevent smoke inhalation? Can firefighters use these?
You know what? The firefighters typically have something much better. Everyone should have some of these in their car, especially in California where there's wildfires. It's keeping that soot and smoke out of your lungs, and even having something like our eye shield mask. To keep things out of your eyes. And so.
Yeah, I'd listen. Maybe you could make one for me so I don't have to use sunscreen. I'm being really serious because I really do not let my face go in the sun. I wear this crazy hat where it literally covers everything, and I would like something more comfortable. Now, Pat says I can see myself reusing this underneath a paper mask, but you told me on the phone you shouldn't wear a mask over it, right?
Yeah, there's no reason to wear a paper mask over the top of this. There really isn't. I mean, in hospital settings, they sometimes do it to keep them a little cleaner. But this is filtering at such a high level. And if you put something over the top of this, you put another mask over the top of the paper, it just makes it thicker and hard to breathe. Something to keep in mind with all masks, all respirators. We did not develop having our airway compromised, okay, or rebreathing our own air. So over a period of time, you get CO2 buildup with it. You get lower oxygen levels. So, I'm in the mask business, and you shouldn't be wearing masks for long periods of time, okay? Just one of those things to keep in mind.
Yeah, but when you have to, like on an airplane, for example.
When you have to, absolutely. But, when you're driving your car alone,
yeah, I never understood that. Why, unless they didn't want. I mean, that I never understood why, unless they're just forgetting to take it off. But that just, yeah,
it is right. But you're rebreathing your own air, and healthy lungs. You want fresh air coming in, going out. Fresh. You need to get that stuff out. And if you've got something that's impeding that, long term, it's not a good thing for you.
Right. So Barbara says we need to wear masks to do ballroom dancing. How do they hold up to sweat?
So they hold up very, very well to sweat. And if you can't, then that skin prep would be great. And it makes some of the ugly guys look more attractive.
You're a comedian too. The question is when it's very warm, because hopefully we're not going to have to be wearing masks too much longer because it can get to 122 where I live. Is it very hot when the weather temperatures are very warm outside?
So it's warm because you're rebreathing your own air at times. You're putting something in here. You're not allowing fresh air in, and so it will be a little bit warmer, just depending on it. But any mask will, just because you're not breathing fresh air.
Yeah. There's a question that I guess you offer free shipping with orders of $75 or more. Does that include to other countries as well?
It's not, because we don't know what. Sometimes it's very, very expensive. Sometimes there's some tariffs involved, so it's hard.
Well, you know what? What else have you invented? I just love that I love the people that make stuff up.
Okay, so since you're asked, I didn't set this up. So, I also have a company, and the company is called Converlation. And one of the big problems that I see in the world is technology and how it's affecting our kids. And we started Converlation as a way to help kids and families reduce the influence of screens, time on game consoles, time on social media, time on endless YouTube videos. I mean, it's detrimental to the young people and to the old people. So we came up with Conversation, and it's a series of workshops that a parent and a child do together. They explore technology together, and it opens up conversations. So we actually have a workbook. We made up the name Conversation. It's about having conversations and building relationships. So we'll be launching this, here in the near future as well. And we'll have Conversation for couples, because we've tested this with a lot of families, and invariably the wife comes back and says, "Oh my gosh, I need that with my husband." We have dinner, we're sitting on the couch, the TV's on, and we're both on our devices, and we're not talking to each other.
That sounds like my marriage. Haha, just kidding.
We all fall into it, and it's one of these things. So that's why we came up with Conversation, and so it's a real problem and a need, and it's only getting worse. Depression, anxiety, suicide. What's happening to the young people these days is awful. So you asked what else I do. I'm a wannabe inventor.
Well, you're a very interesting man and very, very likable. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, I'm going to put this mask on.
Okay.
Oh, I've got the yellow one because I'm a girl. And so you said start with, how high up, John, do I go?
You know what? That's probably pretty good. And then,
Okay,
mid-nose.
so maybe about halfway to the nose, not all the way.
Yep. And then you want to go sides of the nose first.
Oh, sides of the nose first, like this.
And then horizontal. So kind of lift up the corners if you can.
Okay, horizontal.
Yep.
Okay, so I did sides of the nose horizontal, and then I just
slide your fingers down until it comes together.
Wow, that was easy.
It's simple.
And this looks pretty good if you ask me. Look, guys.
It looks fabulous.
This is really, I mean, it doesn't feel any different. In other words, it's not like easier or harder to breathe. It's a mask,
right?
And wow.
And if your body,
I don't think the yellow looks all that bad, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. And you're down a little bit on your right side, I think.
Oh, is it okay to readjust it then?
It is.
Okay, so I'm going to take it off.
Yep.
And I'm going to readjust it. Okay, so this time I'm going to look straight in, and I'm going to do halfway to the nose.
Yep.
Put it on the nose first.
Horizontal is
keep it horizontal like this.
Yep.
And then just come down.
Just
my God. This really is easy.
And if your audience closes their eyes while you're talking, they could not tell that you have a mask on.
Yeah. And what's the best part is oh my God, it was doing this to my ears, it's like, it's just the whole class. All I kept thinking is my ears, my neck. So this is going to be a lot more comfortable, hands-free.
Yep. The other part is, so one of the other things we can do is when you put it on, you open your mouth just slightly, and that brings your jaw down, and just gives you a little bit more room.
Oh, wait, that's a great idea. Let me do that. Open my mouth slightly.
And just do it now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would say this is actually easier to breathe than the N95 I was wearing in my class. And I'm okay with it. I don't think it looks, I like it. I mean, I would like it better in pink, but hey, yellow is not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
At some point you'll think about having it so that we can personalize them. Because the one thing I liked about wearing a mask is that I met a lot of nice people because of it. Because the minute we had to start masking, I had custom made masks that said vegan since 1977. And so many people in stores come up and talk to me. And so maybe, this is great.
The issue we have with any customization is anytime you modify or change this mask, then it's no longer an N95.
I got it. I understand. I'm just dreaming.
Yeah.
So chef, one of my favorite chefs, James Sant, is saying the N95s drive my ears crazy after only wearing them for 10 minutes. So this is a lifesaver as far as the tight strings on the ear. And it's a lifesaver with a 25% discount because you are just such a nice person to do that. I appreciate that. But actually, probably I'd rather have purple than pink. Kathy's saying, what does it say at the bottom of my mask? I don't know.
It says, company name, it's all of the requirements for N95. So it says N95, made in the USA, Global Safety First, which is our corporation. It has our TC number, which is our official number for NIOSH. It has a lot number, all the things that are required to be printed to comply with N95 certification.
Nice. And Gina's saying, does it make my glasses fog up? Absolutely not, because I can feel that this is a much tighter seal.
Yep.
like I can see that nothing's, because honestly, masks don't, I mean, the other masks I was wearing, they really don't seal. These do.
Right.
This is, well, thank you. This is so nice that that you created something that's helping people. Just, again, I'm not getting into masks, whether you need them or not, but hey, if you got to wear them, you may as well be comfortable. And having stuff around your ears is really, really uncomfortable. And even the neck. This is great. Look at me. I can do everything. So now I will show people how we take it off. And okay, so you just take it off very easily. Look, like, just like that. And you're saying this one's a little bit different than the gray, so I can just mash it up and put it there to put it back, right?
Yep. So the way to oftentimes do it is to, especially with these clear liners, is put the liner down and then because it's floppy, put the mask on top of it. Okay. One other thing for the audience, if you have, like me, I'm older, so I have sensitive skin underneath my eyes. And if you don't want to pull that skin, so what you do is if you're taking it, you hold your finger on the mask and you just kind of run it along like this so that the skin doesn't get pulled away. It's just one of those things. So you'll know, the adhesive itself is
like, how do I know which side to put back on, or does it
doesn't matter?
Well, could I just do this? Could I just put it on like this? Keep it like this?
You absolutely can.
I think that'd be a lot easier.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, I'm just going to put it here because who wants to try to do this? So people are saying, is there a different? I know you said that there's a slight difference in adhesive on the gray. Oh, my size, Angela, is small, and so a small was perfect for me. And my husband, even though my husband's a man, he is kind of slender, so maybe small would be right for him. But if I understand you correctly, John, you could use like a large on a smaller person, but maybe not a small on a larger person.
You could, and it's one of these preferences depending on how far it sticks down, how far you want it to go out to the sides. So it's really it's a preference.
Well, here's a request that I don't know if you could do, but I understand why it's being asked. If you could develop a clear one for deaf or hard of hearing people, because when you think about it, people that lip read, would there ever be such a thing that would be available?
It's a challenge, and the problem is we had looked at it. In order to do it, you have to have something clear in here, and then in order for the mask still to perform, that clear doesn't filter. So the area around it that would have to filter even more. One of the reasons our masks are so easy to breathe through is because the whole surface area of our mask is much bigger than regular masks. So we can make it thinner and have it still perform. So it's a challenge for having something clear. We've never been able to kind of figure that out and still do it. The other part is, if we're doing that, it slows down the manufacturing process. And our masks we make them here in the US with all domestic components. And since we're not making 50 million at a time, our cost to make them is expensive. If we were to put something in the middle of this, it would really slow down the process, increase the costs. And, then it's just, you price yourself out of the market, people won't buy it.
Yeah. Susanna says, small suggestion for marketing, maybe put the video called How to Put on a ReadiMask Without Eye Shield on the front page of your website. It's buried in the press section.
Okay, I'm going to give her the number for my tech guy. She's going to have a conversation with him because I had that conversation.
And he didn't believe you? Well, tell him to watch this video. Tell him, yeah.
Yeah, we have a new website coming out as well. So, it's.
Yeah. So here's my question, because honestly, I never saw this until I saw it, right? Obviously, that's how it is with everything. And hopefully a lot of people are watching this, and that those that have to wear masks or want to wear masks will want to try this if they want comfort. But I haven't actually flown since the pandemic, but I'm supposed to fly in March. Will other people recognize these as masks, or will I get pushback from, the flight attendant saying you don't have a mask on? Will enough people know that this really is a mask?
I would say, will enough people know? Unfortunately, no. That's our challenge of getting something new out there, because there's a lot of different things. But I suggest you bring, this or the card with you. And you say, this is an N95 certified, here's the TC number, from NIOSH, made in the US. They go to the website. And when you tell them exactly what it is, how it works, and because they're curious. I mean, they've seen all.
I mean, the last thing I want is not to get on a flight, because what I will do in a case like that, rather than fight, is I'll have another mask. You know what I'm saying? Just
they will also typically at the gate, they will have other masks for you. The problem for the airlines is they are, I don't say understaffed, but oftentimes they have only one person at that gate, and that person has to check in a ton of people, and they can't be looking at this mask and that mask and making determinations on, is this good, is this bad, along those lines. There may be a chance where they won't let you on with it. Most of the times, when that's happened, once people get on the plane and they talk to the flight attendant, and the flight attendants are first and foremost are saying, how does that work? Where did you get it? They're really curious because they have the problems with the straps.
Maybe I should hand out samples,
It works. You just tell them, here's what it is, and then they oftentimes contact us. But it's, these people are trying to do their best. They're under a lot of pressure to just get the plane loaded. So sometimes you got to go along.
Well, yeah, and I will still carry another mask just because, we just got used to that. I do a lot of catering gigs, says James, and these are perfect for anyone in the food industry. Yeah, this is, yeah, it's so funny because I finally was so excited to be able to teach an in-person cooking class, and I posted it on social media, the food, like, why are you wearing a mask? It's like, well, because I wanted to do the class. It's like people are just incredibly rude and ignorant that actually there are people that really choose to follow the mandates of their county and go to work and get paid. So yeah, it just bothers me that, people annoy me so much with this topic. Okay, a lot of people have ordered. That's great, John. Thank you so much I love just the creativity in these. And I know I'm going to have a lot of fun because it's going to be a lot easier on my ears that were just like looking bad and feeling bad. And, so somebody, here's something AZ said, I'm allergic to surgical adhesives. Should I purchase the silicone or acrylic?
I would say go with the silicone, and then try it on your arm or your hand for a period of time, and you'll know whether, you have problems with it.
Right. Well, you are a very creative person. And so, talk to me sometime about that other project you have. Maybe that's something that we could do another show on, like more in its entirety. Because I love just people and how, I love people that create things and put good things in the world. So this is definitely a good thing. And I'm definitely going to send this video out to all my doctor friends who have to wear a mask, including Dr. Roger Schwelt, who's a frontline doctor, and ask him if he is even aware of this, because that might be something he might be interested in, having to wear an N95, for 12 hours a day in the ICU.
Right. Absolutely. And, prior to 2 years ago, no one knew what an N95 was, now, unfortunately, we all do. But hopefully, I think within the next 2 to 3 months, this is going to be in our rearview mirror.
I hope so.
Okay.
Look, great. Hey, just this is a random question because you've probably never seen me or watched my show before, but do you like balsamic vinegar?
Love balsamic.
Great, because you're getting 2 free bottles just for being a guest on Chef AJ Live.
I even have some balsamic glaze here.
This is great. I don't know if Thomas is watching today, but we love people that love balsamic. So that is fantastic. So guys, check it out if you want. You don't have to, but if you do, there is a 25% discount. And hopefully, like John says, these will be a thing of the past, but as long as it's a reality now, we may as well be comfortable. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking to you, John.
Fantastic. Thanks, AJ.
Thank you so much. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Natalie Castro. She is a plant-based registered dietitian who specializes in GI disorders. Thanks, John. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.